Hello everyone, and welcome to TFOL Talk, the podcast where we shine a light on awesome teen fans of the LEGO community doing amazing things, and maybe the occasional AFOL too. I'm Doodlebricks, aka Kavi, and today we're going to be hanging out with Wonder, who's the creator of Ninjago Next Gen Heirs of the Masters. Hey man, how are you doing?
I am well. I am doing, doing well.
Glad to hear. So I guess let's just start off with the first question. Who is Wonder and what do you do in the LEGO world?
Well, I wouldn't say I'm very popular in the Lego world. What I do is that I do my project basically. I've had my circles of promoting it and like what I really do, this is what I try to do, is I try to advocate for creativity the best I can. Because I live and breathe the creative process basically. Like writing, drafting, all that stuff. I love it. I couldn't tell you why, but I do. And I try to advocate that as best I can to anyone who listens.
Okay, well that is fantastic. And I guess before we get onto your project first, how did you get into LEGO in the first place?
Ooh, well, I was, a kid, and a long time ago, my, I guess it was from Ninjago that I really got into Lego. Like it appeared on Cartoon Network one day, and I was like, oh, that's so cool. Oh, they have toys? I want to buy those toys. Guess kids do. But as for a little bit there, like after after the original run of the show, I kind of fell out of it just because my parents were like, "Okay, time to grow up. time to time to throw all these out." And so unfortunately, I don't have any of those older sets anymore. But I
No.
no, sadly no. But recently, nowadays, within the last year or two, I have been getting back into it just because the the building process is like an anxiety soother for me. Like it's like, oh, I have control here. I'm good. I'm okay.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. I think I've heard a lot of people say that Lego is quite soothing, I'd say, and I definitely agree. That sucks though that you don't have any of those old sets, man. Oh, which like
There's
what were some of the ones that you had?
I remember the Tread Assault, the Ultra Dragon with the Devourer, and I think we had the Golden Dragon. We had quite a few of the spinners, but and
Damn.
the Garmatron. Garmatron was another one. Like a lot of the
Yeah,
season two stuff, like the bike as well, I think. But yeah, it's
man.
unfortunately no longer with us. I actually found some of the old figures, like I have some of the old kimono figures or whatever they're called, the from season two.
Yeah,
I
yeah, I
I
know what you're
did have
talking
Lloyd's
about.
as well, but that's I do not have that anymore, unfortunately. I have the original four though.
Man, that sucks. Well, hey, I'm glad you at least got back into it again. So, you had a Dark Age for a while there then.
Yeah.
I see. And what brought you back to it?
Oh, well, that is a I don't know. I guess I just wanted like a nostalgia trip. Like I was like, what was that show I used to watch? What was that? Oh, Ninjago. That was it. Like and just seeing how far it comes, like, whoa. I knew it kept going after, like, I knew there was reboot and stuff, but like, man, this is gone. Like, where
Oh
things have been
yeah,
going.
definitely. It has come a long way since it started. I always love when like I talk to somebody and they're like, "Oh yeah, Ninjago, I used to watch that." And I'm like, "Yeah, it's on its what is it? Like 16th season now?" And they're like, "Excuse me, what?"
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. And also, how old are you, by the way?
I am 20, going on 21 in June.
Okay, awesome. So you're not too far over the TFOL mark then, just recently out of the teen era, I guess. So for anybody who doesn't know, what is your project Ninjago Heirs of the Masters?
Oh, where to begin? But with Heirs of the Masters, it's it's your next gen thing. Like everyone and their mother has tried to do a next gen thing, but I don't think it's ever been done well, I guess. Like I tried to
Okay.
do a lot of research on what I did not want to do. Like you look on Wattpad and all the fanfics, and it's just like this is just season one again. like
Oh
like
man.
it's not anything new. It's like, what I wanted to do very desperately was do something new. Something that said, hey, new start, new beginning, but also, remember all the stuff that came before? Still important.
Yeah, exactly. The history matters.
Yeah, it's it's become it's become its own beast. I have so many seasons that it's not even funny. It's it's
Really.
I have a whole list that I could share with you, but I should probably stay in here. But there's a
Wow.
whole big list of them. Even Gen 3 baby.
Really? You've gone that far?
I have gone mad.
Oh my god, that is incredible. I didn't realize you were like that far ahead. When I checked on your site, I saw, that there was like already like season 2 and I think 3 that was already like mentioned there. And I was like, "Oh man, he's gone pretty far with this." But Gen 3 already, like that is impressive.
I mean, the thing is, none of that's out there. It's all up in the brain right now, but it's all being planned in advance. And I swear to God, I'm playing 10th dimensional chess with myself. Just
Oh my god.
like, okay, this thing happens later. What? In this, it's also related to this thing back here. Does this thing back here have any like design elements from that? Oh, it's like it's become its own thing. It's
Absolutely. It's like a giant puzzle in your head, right? That just like is constantly going. I definitely know the feeling. So, if I'm correct, basically, Ninjago Heirs of the Masters started because you wanted to make a Ninjago next gen, but make it different or more, I guess, informed. If I'm understanding that right.
that's about it. I mean, there's a whole bunch of the origin to it that I is actually very personal and private that I don't want to go into.
Of course. Yeah. No, don't worry. It's good. So, who are the characters in Heirs of the Masters?
Well, we got Julie. She is she is the green ninja basically. I wanted to give all of them different colors, but also I knew like okay, Julie, energy power, green ninja. It's like it's a whole thing. She's the next green ninja. She's still green. Like, but she also has some other colors, such as a complementary peacock blue for her, which
Ooh.
is nice. And she is the main character of our first season, of our first story. Really, it's hard to describe all of it without going into spoiler territory. But she starts out innocent young kid, and things are gonna happen.
Oh man. Okay. So things are gonna happen, right? Then
Well, thing is with that as well is like what's important about a character is to still make them feel like themselves, but also show growth. And there's there's ways to do that. There's definitely ways to do that that I have figured out, and I am very much trying to imply it to all of them in many ways.
all right. I really like that. That's good to hear because I think a lot of the time when characters go through some kind of change in a story like that, they can start to not feel like themselves that much. Prime example for me at least is Jay. Like I mean, he still feels like him, but he feels like he's become much more of a caricature of himself, I guess. So, I like that you're going for that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, rest of the characters, we got Colton, who is uh, he's a lot of the people I work with say he's the self-insert, but I don't see it that way. Like he other than having glasses, we don't got much in common.
Okay, I see.
He's the angry boy. He's the one that he's almost the best way to describe him is he's a volcano. Like volcanoes are dormant for a while, quiet, nothing to them, and then they explode. And that's
Oh
Colton.
man. Oh boy. Okay. That sounds really cool. And how come? Why is he like a volcano then?
Well, that's it's temperamental. He's always bottling up the bad feelings, bottling it all up, being emo over in the corner. But
Ah, being emo over
he
in the corner. Oh my god.
he eventually that comes to a head in spoilery stuff. So
Okay, cool. And what's he the element of again?
he is Earth, which is
He's Earth.
uh
Okay.
a,
So
di- a he's it's a different direction for elementals. Like usually with Earth elementals you see big man throw big rock. That's about what you get. But with Colton, he's about speed. He's about stealth. He's an, he like camouflages, and he's more about quick fire burst or shrapnel shards than big boulders.
I really like that take on the element. Like I really like that. That is such a cool idea. As well as doing the spin of kind of making him more temperamental, I guess, because usually stereotypically it's like, oh yeah, that goes to the fire character, but I see the relation that that has to volcanoes and that kind of thing with the whole magma rock and that kind of thing. So I really like the spin that you put on his character there.
It's I've been at this for years. I have had so much time to refine all this.
That's fair. That's definitely fair. And who's the rest? Who's the rest of the main cast then?
Going down, we have Liam, who is the fire. He's Crimson Ninja. He he's more about fire in the terms of passion. Like he's very friendly, very loving, very good person in general. But obviously they're like with all of them, they've all had their past mistakes. Yeah.
Of course.
So and Liam is very much about like he's the wall. He's the team tank. He's the one who jumps in front. He he has like fire shields, which is weird to think about, but I think of them like Doctor Strange's orange sparky shields, whatever they're called. Uh,
I see what you're saying there. Yeah.
that's that's Liam. He's the team tank. He jumps in front. He's all about passion, good vibes, and just like trying to be the positivity guy of it all. Like he's and then there's Tammy. What before I get into Tammy, I must clarify. Tammy and Liam are in a relationship, but Liam is not Kai's son. He is his student.
Okay.
No blood ties or family relation. I want to
Okay. All
shut
right.
that off
Cool.
now because so many people have asked me that.
All right. Cool. Good to know.
It's it's the equivalent of like the student falling in love with the teacher's niece. That's about all it is.
Yeah, I see what you're saying there. Okay, that's cool. Good, good that you disclosed that right away. Cause my God, I'm sure, like you said, people are like, wait a second.
Oh yeah, that's I've had as I said, it was like uh I've had to really refine some things. I've had that one like always like it's this is it. This is how it is. This ain't changing.
All
This
right, cool. So they're in a relationship, and
well, Tammy, she is lightning. She's like a I don't know what you call that color. It's like a reddish purple. It's it's meant to be like a fusion of Nia's color and Jay's color. Like that's her thing. And she is about she's she's the nervous one. She's the one that's always kind of paranoid a little bit. Like her lightning comes from you could say nervous energy. It's like almost like Jay from the movie, kind of. Just like
yeah,
that. Movie Jay was kind of how it worked a little bit there. Like she has uh They all have unique weapons as well. It's like we're not doing nunchucks again. We're not doing katanas again or scythes. It's just these guys have their own thing to them. And her weapon
Okay.
is like claws. Her weapon is like claws. She's about getting up front. Like even though she's the nervous one, her courage in battle is unmatched.
I see what
It's
you're
all
saying.
about
So she's
like
kind of like one of those. Sorry.
no, go ahead. I I lost my
I
thought.
was gonna say. Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say. So she's like one of those people who's like nervous generally, but when it comes to like getting the thing done, it's like boom, I'm gonna do it. If I'm right?
uh, Something like that. It's more of a case of finding that resolve within. You could say it's like, okay, time to do this. Let's do this. We're going to do this.
Okay, I see what you're saying. All
Hmm.
right. And then there's one more ninja left, right?
There's there's three more characters, but yes, one more, I guess, main ninja. That is Haru. Haru was the one I had the most trouble with. He was
Really?
he was like the last one we came up with. He's Xanapixel's Robo-Sun. He I figuring out his personality was always difficult because it's like, okay, robot. Zane does being like the robot character really well. How do I not do Zane?
Yeah, definitely. That can be the struggle.
Yeah. And I actually got inspiration from Attack on Titan. He is personality-wise kind of based on Armin Arlert. He's the strategist. He's the creative planner. Like he can really come up with stuff. And like I mean creative planner is in like his creativity in things is like it's a human level thing, and it's just like it fascinates everyone else almost. Like, well, how did you do that? How did you
I
think of
see.
that?
It's like beyond a robot thing, basically, right?
Kind of. Like he's just whether he's just that advanced or something else is going on. That is also something I have not figured out yet. But that's kind of Haru is like he's also about improvisation. Like ice powers, make ice weapon.
Okay, I see. So he just makes his own weapons then.
Well, if he needs to. Like he has his own like weapon on him, like they all do. But like, I need like a throwing knife. Make throwing knife. Whoa.
I see what you're saying there. That's cool. That's always handy to have. That's really cool though. I like what you've done with him. And who are the other two characters you said there still were?
There is Aaron and Makoto. Aaron is Tammy's brother. Uh, but he comes a bit late, and he's gone for a while. Don't know why. Can't tell you. He's just kind of gone. Spoilers. But it's with him. We went the route of like with water elementals. It's usually like it's the big open ocean. Like it's ocean stuff. It's always something with water elementals. With him, he's like this muddy orange with his gi. So he's more about like swamps. He's and his water is even kind of murky looking, and that on its own is a bit of a story detail, character detail that people have to pay attention to.
Okay.
Like he's Makoto as well. He's Julie's younger brother, and he's gone for a while too. Once again, can't tell you. Don't know why. uh, he he very much takes after his grandfather in terms of like he's mostly Oni. He's got destruction power. Oh dear. Uh,
Oh yeah.
thing is about him is that he's not evil. He's more of the trickster. He's he's a kind of the rebel of a lot of things, and he is basically our samurai. Uh, and the thing is about the name Makoto, it's ironic because Makoto means like innocence, truth, stuff like that. That's not Makoto.
I like that. I like the I guess what's the word? I like how ironic that is.
Yeah.
That's great. Okay. That is a cool line of like main characters. And who is, well, I guess I was going to ask who the villain is, but what is the general, I guess, synopsis of the beginning of the story, I guess. Or like not necessarily synopsis, but like, the word is escaping me, but like what's the general plot, I guess.
General plot is this like there's this woman in the realm between realms. She's the villain. Like she's like in the void, the world between worlds sort of bit, the space between worlds, and she's kind of trying to reset everything, kind of like destroy Ninjago, and then Ninjago's back, and now it's better than it was, at least in her eyes. Uh, and with that, you gotta stop that. Don't want that to happen. That's the with the plot. It's like we're basically kind of trying to follow the beats of the original series. Like, okay, they went to go get the golden weapons. These guys have got to go get their own special things, and kind of use them as keys to stop all this.
I see. And can I ask what those special things are, or is that spoilers?
They're just like it's kind of the same thing with the original characters. It's like it's a it's not a golden weapon, but we call them the Voidstone weapons. They're
Okay.
It's like it's a special weapon of the weapons they usually use.
I see. That's a really cool. I like the name of those as well. Like that's a cool concept. And can I ask what the void weapons do, or is that spoilery?
They are they kind of function like the golden weapons in a roundabout way. They have gems in them that are meant to channel the elemental power rather than like the actual material. Because Voidstone is null. It's nothing. It cannot channel. It cannot create. But with the gems, we can kind of work around that.
Okay. I see. That's a cool concept. I like that a lot. So it's dependent on the gems then, I guess.
Yeah.
All right. That's really cool. And what's the name of the main villain? What's her name?
She is Arlena. She's on the
Arlena.
website
Okay.
as well. Yeah, she's on the website as well. And if you look at her, yes, she is meant to be creepy.
I see. Yeah.
She,
It says on the website that she was the first wife of the first Spinjitzu master, right?
yeah, that's also a thing. But
That is
very
super
specifically
cool.
taken to the account first wife. There's so it's like this is not Wu Ingarmadon's mother. This is someone else.
Oh, wait, but she's someone else's mother then? Because it says once she was a loving mother.
Yep.
Ooh, story details. That's cool. All right, so Wu and Garmadon have half siblings then.
Oh yeah, yeah. That definitely. And with those two characters are actually recently revealed in an Instagram reel that I had. And yeah, they were recently, well, kind of previewed and less revealed. Uh, they they have this own concept about them. With Wu and Garmadon, it's the duality of yin and yang. They're like the yin and yang brothers, basically, creation and destruction. And with these two, they're kind of the same. They are about freedom and order, which is actually something inspired by Assassin's Creed. They
Oh.
with their whole. But the thing about it is that it's meant to ask questions. It's like freedom is good, like general human rights, good. Uh, Going the full extreme of that, anarchy, bad. Where's the like? Same with order. Like, okay, general safety of the public, like, you know, law enforcers doing the right thing, and then there's dictatorship.
I see what you're saying
it's
there.
it's this question of where's the lines, like especially when one wants to keep fighting for more.
That
Like
I really
pretty
like
like
that.
yeah. It's this question of where's the line? Where like it's a yin and yang, but it's a blurry yin and yang.
I think that's such a cool concept, and I like that you're going into that with these guys because that is, I guess a kind of cool representation of stuff that happens in the real world and tackling it in this kind of fantasy setting is just. I like the inspiration there. I think it's really interesting. So, all right, you said that you took some inspiration from Assassin's Creed with that kind of concept, but what are some of the other inspirations for Heirs of the Masters? Like, what are some sources that you've taken inspiration from? Or I guess what inspires you for it, I guess.
Well, there's tons of things that have inspired me. Like we're gonna do this is public as well, at least I've shared it before. We're gonna do a steampunk season. And that was very
Ooh.
much inspired by a game called Frostpunk, uh, which is very fun. Very fun game. Love that one. But like, I get a lot of my inspiration, at least parts of the visuals from it, from like many games I've played. Like, even going back to Assassin's Creed, like we've done like stuff with the outfits. Like, I I even disclosed this on like the a little bit talking about season 2 on the website. Is that uh the outfit was inspired by something you can put together in Assassin's Creed Unity, which is like we use that as a basis, and it's like okay, now I like we kind of turned it into like a proper ninja-esque thing. Like assassins, ninjas, kind of the same thing, except for that one time when they were royal guards. But but it's it's very much you know the outfits have been a huge inspiration across multiple games from that series. And it's of course some of it's gonna have to be dialed down a bit to
Yeah, of course.
to because like a lot of them, a few of the outfits in those games, especially the recent ones, are a bit wacky. But you have to dial it down and be like, okay, this is more ninja like. This is you know. But it's definitely been a huge point of inspiration, just so we can one stand out when it comes to designs and still feel like a ninja thing.
Yeah, I definitely see what you're saying. It's like I guess kind of adapting designs, but using them as kind of a basis to go off and add your own creativity to it, right?
Yeah, basically.
And what's the goal for Heirs of the Masters? Is it like an animated series, a comic, or something else?
That was has been its own evolving process. At first, my gut instinct was like, "Oh, let's get this animated. Oh, this will be so cool." And then I realized just how difficult that would be, especially like just with like how much I learned was actually in that process. Because like it's a lot more to it, like storyboarding, like refinement of the writing in general. Like the writing part of it has been a little bit of a challenge for me because like I'm still learning to write. If you look back at like what's on our Wattpad now, it's it's bad. Like it's not bad, but like you get it. Like you understand what you're reading somewhat, but like it's not to the quality that it needed to be. And though none of it is posted, a lot of our stuff is so much better now. It's it's been definitely evolving, and so
Of
that
course.
makes the current goal is like we're gonna make the current goal is we're gonna put it all out there. It's all gonna be on the Wattpad, and then we're gonna make like an almost like an audiobook out of it, an audio drama sort of thing with
Okay.
visual aids, of course.
That's a cool idea.
Like it'll be up on YouTube, like video format. Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. I don't think I've heard of a lot of people doing I don't think I've heard of a lot of people just in general doing that kind of style for their I guess story. So that sounds pretty
Oh,
cool.
oh yeah. Like I grew up on like some podcasts, like audio dramas. Like I think it's an underappreciated genre. Like animation is great. Like I love watching anything move and animated, but it's just a different, but also equally fascinating stimulation of the mind to get like suggestions of ideas from like visual aids and hearing what's happening. going further, it's like, oh, it's my imagination, it's running wild.
Right? It kind of feels like a bit of a mixture between like a book and a show and a podcast altogether, because you still
Yeah.
get the general idea of what like certain characters and places look like, and you're not having to read it yourself, but you're still imagining a good amount of what happens, and it's a really nice blend of all those things, I think.
Yeah. We actually have something up on our YouTube channel, which is a very early audio narration thing that was done for the 10th anniversary. I think still is good, but like it needs like it's not that it's non-canon anymore. It's just it's been adjusted since then. We're gonna have to do a new version, but like I would recommend checking out that first one to get an idea of what we are doing.
All right, definitely. The link to that will be in the description if anyone wants to go check that out. Okay. That's so cool. So the idea is just to keep going with the kind of audio drama type format for now. And do you think you'd ever like to try and get some like, I don't know, what's the idea? Like maybe do some like short animated things, like animated shorts or something, as like kind of just an addition to that? Is that something that you think would be cool?
I mean, yeah, it would definitely be cool. Like I would love to do that, but it depends on who's willing to animate that for free, because
Of course.
I'm just a dude who I'm just a dude. I do not have a job this right now, and I even if I did, it would not be a big bank account. So, like, I have been relying on the kindness of my friends who have stuck with me for, for years at this point, and I'm eternally grateful.
That's lovely to hear. So you've been working on Airs for 3 years then.
Oh, going on 4. Yep.
Going on four, really. Man, that is so exciting. It must be so cool to like see this idea that something that just started as an idea turned into what it is now.
Oh, it is. The the like every time I look back, I think of like this started as nothing but like a writing experiment and just me goofing around and doing like just like being bored. And now it's like a full-fledged thing. Like it's becoming a thing that people are following and liking, and it's very like it's just very interesting. I mean, with everything, there have been some negatives like along the way. Like there's tons of bad stuff I've been sent. Uh,
Oh,
I don't want to get into it too much, but actively to this day, actively to this day, I have been I have been sent uh, explicit imagery of my own characters to me for about 2 years now.
that is awful. Why?
I don't know. People have no life. Like I
Yeah, that's a
every time every time I see that, it's like, well, found the lonely one.
found
Found
the
found the one with too much time on their hands.
Oh my god. And is that like as a direct like thing against you, or is it just people with very questionable taste?
I don't know. Like I think people just don't like seeing others succeed. Really, some people don't. Like I
Yeah.
wouldn't say I'm succeeding in any way, but like the thing is, I'm fairly underground. Like I'm not as popular as say Speedy or Yasor, I think is how you say them with their Neon Warfare thing. They're like those are cool things. Check them out. Those are cool. But like I am fairly underground compared to them. So to say like basically I can say it's like, well, you're not popular enough for you complaining to get out much. It's like, well, guess I might as well not complain at all and just I don't know, enjoy the good parts of it. Like I every time that happens, I block and delete and stuff.
That's fair. People just like, even if it's not like you're specifically like succeeding in the eyes of others, I think a lot of people just get pissed off when they see someone is doing something that they're passionate about and they're not, you know. That can definitely happen and it definitely sucks. But I think you're handling it well by just ignoring it and getting rid of it.
I mean, it's I acknowledge it in a different way. Of like some people will acknowledge it and be like, "Oh no, oh, how could you do this? Oh no, that's gross, that's disgusting." I'm just like, "Huh, you got too much time on your hands, do you, bud?"
Yeah, it's just like, all right. Anyways, all right. So, Heirs of the Masters is featured on this site called Keepers of Spinjitzu. So, what exactly is Keepers of Spinjitzu, and how did Heirs become involved with that?
Well, I must say, Keepers is not mine. Keepers belongs to
Okay.
someone named Devi on Twitter. They run it. It's their site, and they just I through someone else named Eva, who is a good friend of mine. Hope you're listening. Hi, love you. uh, it's uh, they basically invited me like, hey, do you want to be featured on there? I'm like, heck yeah. And we also did an on they also did an advent calendar thing there, and we're on like our whole site stemmed from us being on day 5. Like if you look at day 5 of the advent calendar, it's just our page basically.
Okay.
Thing is about our page is that it can be updated.
That's good. So Masters is on the site, but like what is the site generally for people who don't know?
It's kind of I mean, I'm probably not wording it the best because I don't know the ins and outs, but it's kind of like this basically like, hey, are you a fan of Ninjago? Come put your stuff on here. We'll showcase it. We'll get it out to other people. Like it's all about like showcasing fan stuff. And not only that, but I think there's like some other like official stuff on there. I'm not sure. But it's really about like just kind of having this hub archival place of the fan community entirely, and it's really a good venture, I think.
Okay. That's really interesting because when I was looking around on the site, I saw there was a lot of featuring, like fan stories, fan fiction, fan art, all kind of this amazing stuff that people like you and all sorts of other people in the community have been doing. Just kind of like a place to go to find all that kind of stuff. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
So Airs as well has custom art for the characters as well as like scenes and some custom sets as well. Now, do you do all of that?
Oh, I don't have an artistic bone in my body. I a lot of the credits, like if it's featured on the site, I'll have the proper credits of the people who made it. Like I'm more of the creative director. I say, hey, can we take this in a different direction? And they're like, okay, at least hopefully. But
I see what you're saying.
like it's always been a bit of a process when it comes to like the just just for me in general. Just like I get excited and it's like, oh, this looks great, and then I have to be like, wait, can you change this? I got a bit too excited, got a bit ahead of myself.
Oh man, that's the issue. You always gotta like, I guess, temper your excitement. It's like, all right, let's think about this. We can't just go on a whim. We gotta actually like plan this out.
The thing is that things come to me a few minutes later. It's like, oh, I just noticed this. This is a bit too big. This is a bit too like obscured. Something like that.
Okay, I see. And the artwork, and the custom sets are all designed by a handful of other people, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Oh yeah, a handful of other people. A lot of the custom sets, at least the vehicles that are on the site right now, or should be, are made by Phil or Amigo P on Twitter. Uh, been a great help. Unfortunately, I
Okay.
cannot keep working with them. Unfortunately, I cannot keep working with them just because, like, life is a thing. They gotta move on with other ventures. But we're having one last hurrah with something that should be out soon. Uh,
Okay. That's exciting. So I
it,
guess
I
keep an eye out for that.
yeah, but I want to say explicitly, like, like this is not like a falling out thing. We're still friends. It's just, you know, life happens.
Of
Like,
course, life
like,
happens.
yeah.
I think pretty much everyone can understand that as well. Sometimes life just gets a bit too busy to work on things like that, which sucks, but hey, you know. And are there any other Lego themes that you're a fan of besides Ninjago?
I mean, I liked the idea of Chima. I liked what it was doing, at least what it tried to do. Because in Chima, this was also a bit of a problem for it, is that it was there there was no explicit bad guy. There was just people doing what was best for their tribes. Like, at least that was kind of the gist of it. Or people being manipulated and stuff like that. Like that, I liked the idea of that in Chima, but it wasn't my thing. Like I watched the show, I watched all 3 seasons. It's just like that was okay, I guess. Like that's what I got out of Chima. Uh,
Yeah.
like my, when it comes to Lego, my go-to is really Ninjago. It's not that I haven't explored other ones. Like I have like one Marvel set, I think, for my birthday, and it's just that I liked Doctor Strange, so I got the like the big tentacle monster multiverse of madness set as a gift from a friend.
Yeah. Okay, so Ninjago is the main one then, I guess. There's nothing else that you're really particularly invested in, Lego wise, I guess, in their
Not
original
really.
themes
Not,
department.
yeah, not really invested. I wouldn't. It's not that I don't care about them. It's like, oh, that's cool. That's coming out. Then I won't get it.
That's fair. I gotta ask, what are your thoughts on Monkey Kid?
Monkey Kid has been. Uh, it's definitely has its audience. I am not in that audience. Like a lot of the sets are really cool. Like I love the Journey to the West theme. I love the just like a lot of the build styles in those. But the show itself is not for me. It's very
Really?
like it has a bunch of self-contained episodes that are just like the adventure of the week sort of thing, and then lore happens, and then story happens out of nowhere, and it's like, well, that happened. That was really fast paced. What was that? like it's not for me. Like I get that it's probably based on like things from Journey to the West. Like whole episodes can be based on little stories from it, but it's just not for me. It's a bit too fast paced for, and also too self-contained in episode wise. For like there's they both try to do overarching things of like the Spider Queen was a thing in season 2, and it's just like it happens out of nowhere and it's very jarring for me.
I definitely understand what you're saying there. That is something that I mean, I'm a huge Monkey Kid fan. I don't know if you can see, but this entire shelf behind me is like just Monkey Kid sets plus those ones. But
Yep.
yeah, it's like I love the theme, but that's definitely something that's also not completely my favorite about it. That's I guess the limitation of the 10-minute format for their episodes like Ninjago has also been doing, which makes it a lot faster paced. Now, I mean, I guess
Yeah.
to be fair, it has actually been doing pretty well in China and outside of it too. Like the community is huge already. But
Oh
that's
yeah,
I
it's great.
agree. Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It's really
I
cool,
mean,
but I do agree that that's something that's kind of annoying about it, I guess, at times.
it's not to say that the show is bad. I mean, have you seen the animation?
No.
Beautiful. Love it.
Yeah, definitely. It has its flaws, like anything else does.
Yeah, it's just what it does. Like what it does well, it does amazingly. It's just really the how they tell the story and how there are just a whole bunch of self-contained episodes that don't go anywhere. And then when something does happen, it happens like right at the end out of nowhere. It's not my thing.
Yeah, no, that's understandable. I mean, I was gonna say that one thing that I kind of tell myself when I think that is like I do remember that Ninjago actually did kind of start like that. Like it had its pilot episode or episodes depending on what format you watched it in, and then the beginning was kind of like it was a little bit like monster of the week type thing, but it was also kind of adding to the lore at the same time. And I know the I was gonna call it season 3 because I count the pilots as season 1, but season 2 to everybody else, the final battle season. I know that the first half of that I think is just random episodic stuff. Now, I mean, looking
Oh
back,
yeah,
it's
the
nostalgic, so I love
yep.
it. but it is actually quite similar in that way. And then it slowly got more into lore, and then to the point where almost every single episode has some big lore thing. So I do like
I mean,
whenever I think about
the
yeah.
thing I think I'm sorry to interrupt you, but the thing about those is that it's kind of the mega weapon arc. You could say it is. Like, it's about Garmadon's mega weapon and all the nonsense he causes with it, and that leads us to wrong place, wrong time, where that's taken off, and all the golden weapons in it are shot into space, and everything's supposedly back to normal, even though Lloyd is still older for some reason. But but uh, but then that leads us into rebooted. So, like, all that nonsense does lead up to something, but I'm not saying it was handled well though. Like, it's for me it is nostalgic. Of like, I love the pirate episode. I could not tell you why, but I do.
I love it too.
But uh yeah, I love the Skybound callback in it. Like, there was like a small scene in one episode where people are like walking into an office and it's like, oh, they finally fixed their offices, and the Sky Pirates come by. Not again.
I know, right? Oh my god. I love the humor was quite good in some of those episodes. Sometimes it didn't hit at all, and sometimes it was just like on point. I see what you're saying there. I mean, Monkey Kid does definitely have a bit of like the adding little bits to plot points, like building up, but it is definitely a bit more sporadic. And a part of me thinks that could be improved on, but also part of me is like, well, I mean, it's working for them. But I have hope. I think it's going to be getting into more deeper lore soon, since we're just in the still kind of earlier stages of it, the same kind of time frame as Ninjago started out. But yeah,
Yeah,
it's pretty damn cool
we'll see
still.
where it goes. We'll see where it goes. Yeah.
Definitely. So, with the next season of Ninjago looking to be some kind of like soft reboot slash semi next gen ninja type of thing, from what we've seen so far at least, how do you feel about that?
I have definitely mixed feelings. Like, the next gen thing is not bothering me because it's like, well, this is fanfic. This is like an AU, like fanfic AUs. Those are whole things that are like, it's like, if I had to put like a mark on where everything goes up to, it's like Heirs of the Masters probably won't, depends on what happens, uh, be everything Ninjago up until crystallized. Like, uh, and then that will spring off of that. And like,
As
with
in, like, it
my,
happens like everything. Sorry, you mean like everything up till crystallized fits within the canon, is what you're saying? Of
uh,
heirs?
yeah, kind of. Like, it, it takes all the everything. Like, my stuff takes everything up to crystallize into account. Like, whatever comes next, whether or not it's interesting, it may be incorporated, but it's most likely like just not, like, it'll probably just be like, once again, it matters whether or not it's a next gen thing. But my problems with United or whatever it's going to be are just much deeper because if you've seen like the set leaks or at least the name leaks, those
Yeah.
names were terrible. Everyone brushed them off as these have to be fake, and then they turned out to be real, and that immediately set off alarms in my head of quality control. Uh,
Hmm.
and like, when I saw the mech leak, I hated that thing. It's not
Really?
even. It's like, yeah, like, well, hated is strong. It looks too much like a core set to be anything mainline, and that's my biggest problem with it. Like, if it was a core set, I'd be just like, oh, it's another core set. But like, it's the fact that it's mainline, it just be, I don't know. It's a little bit kind of. It makes me wondering what the heck they're thinking behind the scenes. But just the fact that everything we've seen so far leak-wise, people have either brushed off as fan art, legitimately just fake bad leaks. It's
I see.
it's just it's set this like concern of quality into my mind. Like, if I will be 100% honest with you, I have considered making Heirs of the Masters no longer a Ninjago project, like its
Really?
own, like even making its own thing, because we have so much that could be its own thing, undoubtedly. But it really depends on whether United makes me want to stay a Ninjago fan.
Okay. That's really fascinating. I mean, my question is though, I mean, you'd still be a fan of the stuff that came prior. It would just be like, well, now they've kind of done something with it that I don't like, so I'm not going to keep following the new stuff, right? Or
I mean,
no.
not really. Like Ninjago's always had its ups and downs. Like I'll probably always follow it, like casually watch it, but I don't know if I want something I'm just into casually now, theoretically, to be like the biggest focus project thing of my life so far. Like
Yeah.
that is my concern. Like I
I
am I
see what you're
willing to
saying.
dedicate as much energy as I put into this continuously just for something that I probably just be into casually now.
That's understandable. My question is, how would you? So obviously, you have like so much there that it could be its own thing, but there are still a few things that are closely tied to Ninjago lore. For example, the villain being the first wife of the first Spinjitzu master, and of course, like the parents of the the ninja basically, who are the parents of the main characters now. So how would you go about changing that to no longer be associated with Ninjago?
I mean, it could be a whole restructuring. Like we could have like a first Ninjutsu Master adjacent character, or just like renaming things. It could it can be like depending on how the direction goes of what we figure out. Like that could be a whole restructuring. Like that could take a while. And the thing is, I'm so committed to this thing now that I would be willing to do that. But
That's good. That's good though. Like the commitment to the project that you're doing, that's great to hear.
yeah, like it could it will very much involve like a whole restructuring of things. But that's okay, I think. It, like maybe Arlena is no longer the wife of basically God. Maybe she's just some really wronged woman or something. It really depends on what happens and like what direction we decide to go, like what we think will fit and kind of still keep things, you know, without restructuring literally everything.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. Puzzle piecing basically, right? Just popping in some missing pieces of the puzzle to finish up what you already got there.
Yeah.
Okay, I was gonna say that definitely like sounds like a good plan for heirs, and yeah, I mean, when it comes to the next gen Ninjago thing, for me personally, when it comes to like canon, I'd prefer the ninja don't get replaced because like I'm kind of not ready to let go of these guys yet. But it doesn't look like they're getting fully replaced. It looks like they're just adding some new characters, which I'm fine with. But I mean, sets wise, so far at the time of this recording, by the time this is released, we'll probably have more images of the sets. But at the time of this recording, all the sets we've seen is Lloyd's mech, Lloyd and Aaron's, I think it is.
Yeah.
Personally, I really liked it just because it looked different to what we've gotten before. It had those like sandals, and it has that feature where you can put the Aaron's mech into the torso of the main one, of Lloyd's one. Now, to be fair,
I
Lloyd's
mean,
doesn't look that
that's
great
just
without the
theorized.
mech, but that's what.
That part is just theorized so far. Like we don't know if that's confirmation, but
True, but judging by how empty it looks in the middle and there's like a blue Technic pin sticking out, I have a pretty strong feeling it's gonna fit in there.
I mean that's probably true. I have not seen much of it, especially with just how blurry it is. So if there
Sure,
is like a blue Technic pin, it's like, well, that might be a thing then.
maybe. But yeah, I mean, so far when it comes to that, I didn't mind it, and honestly, I don't remember the names of all the sets at the moment too much, but from what I remember, I didn't mind them that much. They seemed kind of interesting to me. Though I do understand the kind of weird naming scheme, I did think they were kind of funky names, a lot of them. And I have seen that kind of a little bit more recently with things like Zane's ice dragging creature, like kind of odd naming choice, things like that. But
Oh yeah, that was a weird one as well.
it was weird, right? And I don't know, when it comes to the overall quality, I've seen people be very concerned with the quality of Ninjago going forward, especially with some of the leaked concept art. Was it concept art? Yeah, I think it was. Of the characters of some of the main ninja, Aaron, and one of the villains. I definitely understand people being concerned about that, but I feel like I'm going to personally like hold off from making any strong judgments on it until it's like officially revealed, because I seem to remember back when Secrets of the Forbidden Spinjitzu was leaked. There was like a leaked scene from the beginning, and it looked pretty bad, and everyone was like, "Oh my god, this looks terrible. Ninjago's quality is going down." And then it turned out that's just because it wasn't like fully finished. So I think I'm gonna hold back my final thoughts on it, or like full judgment, until we get official stuff, because the only art we've seen is still concept art. Like, it's close to finalized, but it's still concept art. So that's kind of where I stand on
I
the
mean,
whole thing. I'm
that's
waiting still to see.
I'm not really judging United really off of what we've seen of the show. Like I worked in animation. Like I used to really animate some things.
Really?
But, like, well, not professionally, but like I loved using Source Filmmaker and Blender, and I still do. But I'm not really into animating now. But like I know for a fact that when those like I wasn't around when that was like new, but when I saw them, I was like, oh, that just looks unfinished. Like it wasn't like I I maybe it's just because I'm an animator, but it's just like, well, obviously you weren't supposed to see this yet. It's a leak. It's most
Right?
likely not finished. Like, but the thing is about
Exactly.
those products, thing about those product images and like the background, like the character art and like the names and stuff, it's like those are like almost final things, and those are what's
True.
concerning. It's just like the product image with the kid is like that's like a fully edited, photoshopped, whatever, put together thing. That's most likely the final product. So like looking at it, it's just like I don't like this. Like the like I like the idea of what they were going with, going for the more Japanesey stuff with the old shoes and the hat and whatever, but just like it didn't look like it was well executed either. At least in my eyes. Like it's just the fact that these are
I
things
see.
that are pretty much final and still questionable quality is what gets me.
Yeah, I can see what you're saying there. I do think that, I mean, like, the promotional image, I do agree that is like done. Like, that was found on a Lego website. I forgot which region it was, but on some other country's Lego website. That was definitely done. I totally agree with you there. But it was very blurry. So, like, we still haven't seen the rest
That
of
is
the
also
product
true.
images. It was just, like, in the
I
middle of
mean,
being played with. So, who knows?
yeah, I mean, the thing is about that, I'll have to definitely see it in motion. Like, if it, as Ninjago does, it'll probably be incorporated into the TV show, and maybe it'll just simply look better in motion and animated.
Maybe.
Like, I don't know, but like, from what I've seen of it, it's just like, huh, that's questionable.
Yeah, no, we'll have to wait and see. And I see what you're saying as well with, you being into animation and seeing the leaked animation footage from Secrets of the Forbidden Spinjitzu and being like, well, that's just not done yet. I definitely get that there because, I'm an illustrator. I haven't done much animation, but I do illustration mostly. And that was kind of what I had looking at the leaked concept art. I was like, well, that's concept art. You're not supposed to see that yet. It does look like it's very close to being finalized, though. I will say that. Like, the characters on it look very close to what we can kind of make out in the blurry
Yeah.
images. Though, actually, I mean, saying that, I will say the only one that looks very close is the villain, because that one's looks more like it's a digital render of the minifigure put in there alongside the concept art.
I
And I
mean,
mean,
yeah.
looking back at some other Ninjago concept art that has been officially released for past seasons, it has sometimes looked very close to finalized, but then they've changed it. So that's why I'm not concerned
Yeah.
yet, because we haven't seen it, and that's
Yeah,
obviously concept art. So I have hope for it still.
yeah. I mean,
But I mean, also,
if with the character one, like the 3D one of the villain, like that is definitely like pretty much final, I think. Like, but also with the other three characters, which was Aaron, Lloyd, and Kai, it's like I don't think we've seen Kai, but you can kind of make out the Lloyd and Aaron figures from the mech image, and they're basically the same that we see here. So,
yeah, I saw the Aaron one. I didn't notice Lloyd in the promotional image though. But like, I mean, to be honest, I know a lot of people aren't liking those designs. I actually kind of like them. I think they're kind of cool looking. But yeah.
I mean, as a figure, I would like to have it, but also it's like, well, how are you gonna make that work in the show? Like, what is this? Is it like an NRG thing where they go all
It
their
might be.
color or whatever?
It feels like it might be that they could be like the gimmick sets.
Yeah, maybe. But we'll see. That's all we
We
can
will
say is we'll
see.
see.
Exactly, right? So, what do other people say when you tell them about your Lego passion, or if they just happen to find out about it?
I mean, I've been fairly open with it. Uh, it's just like all I say is like, yeah, Lego is like the building process suits me. It's like people who know me know I got bad anxiety. It's just like, oh well, anything that helps. Like that's about their reaction, usually at
I
least.
see. Has anybody ever been like, Lego, that's a kid's toy, or something like that?
I mean I guess I was afraid of that because like people are judgy. People tend to do that, but
Yeah.
it's luckily anyone who I have told it to has been very like okay with it. Like very much like, oh well, anything that helps you. Like
Okay.
if they
I'm
knew
glad to
if they
hear.
knew I did if they knew I did nothing but buy Ninjago sets, maybe they would judge me. But
Exactly. You don't tell them how much you spent on it. You just say that you buy it and you leave it at that.
yeah,
That is the key. It's like, oh yeah, I like Lego. I actually spend all my money on it, but
yeah,
I'm not gonna tell you that.
yeah.
I'm glad to hear that the reception is quite positive. And I was wondering, so you said that you originally got out of it because your parents were like, right, time to move on from it now, which I know is the case for a lot of people. How do they feel about you getting back into it now?
I think they've just stopped caring. Like like they're older. They don't got the energy that they like used to berate me with, but they they just kind of like as times have changed, they have grown up with it a little bit. Like they're
Okay.
from like my parents are old enough to be grandparents, at least by the normal standards. But they they have been more accepting that like video games are fun. Video games are like a whole thing. Like people still are into toys at older ages, and it's not doesn't have to be for any creepy weird reasons that might have been assumed in like the early 2000s.
Yeah, I mean, like toy and just nerd stuff in general has really become a lot more accepted in more recent years. So I'm glad to hear that they've kind of, I guess, evolved with the times and are accepting of it now. That's good to hear. Okay, here's one. So, if Lego was going to start focusing on teens more, like how they have with this whole new Adults Welcome campaign, what do you think they could do to cater more towards TFOLs?
Well, on TV show side of things, probably do something at least kind of like a lot of the more daring cartoons tend to do. Like like if anyone knows Justice League Unlimited, those those ones like they didn't hold back on certain things. They were very much about like being serious. And like even shows nowadays like Amphibia, like the first few like I think around a good bit of the first season is bunch of like a bunch of just like adventure of the episode sort of thing. And then by season two, apparently it gets pretty dark. like I'm not
Oh,
I'm not saying go completely dark. Like I'm not saying go completely bloody everywhere. Just like be a little bit more daring, I would say.
I see what you're saying. I agree with what you're saying there, and I think Ninjago has gotten better with that, but it then feels like they've kind of taken a step back in more recent years with that as well. Like there's moments, but the whole like Oni trilogy was very much, I think, like that perfect mix of it.
Oh yeah. Thing is about the Oni trilogy on its own is that every time a new season comes out, at least what Lego has to account for with every wave of their stuff, every new season of a show is like, well, there's new kids that are growing up in the world, and they're probably going to catch this and not know what the heck is happening. It's
Of course.
like that's the problem with having continuous, like multi long seasons with one continuous story. It's multi-season long things. It's just that's kind of the issue. It's just like how their business is structured is like it works for them. If, like that's their business model. They cater to kids, and they have to like I think they said they have to basically anticipate like a 30% drop in like revenue and viewership every like new wave of things they're doing.
Yeah,
So
I have heard that somewhere.
so it's like it's just the fact that like people usually grow up and like so or just something happens in someone's life and they have to step away from what they like and like it's and like kids are coming in because like you know everyone's having kids apparently. Kids are born all the time. And then
Who
kids are
knew? Oh
growing
my
up all the time.
goodness. Well, no way, kids grow up too.
No, it's just small forever, really.
No, exactly. It's like it feels so weird now to hear like, yeah, my kid was born in 2015. It's like no, they weren't. People stopped being born after like 2000 2010. Like nobody was born after that. What are you talking about?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's I don't know.
Definitely though.
It's always been
I
wild.
I see what you're saying, and yeah, I do agree that I think being a bit more daring in their show stuff, or making just a new show specifically that I guess maybe, well, I guess they'd have to obviously have sets go along with it, but I mean for me personally, I feel like some kind of theme specifically catered to teen fans would be a good way to go, and then they would have the liberty to do kind of a little bit more of a daring show like you recommended, with some kind of art style maybe akin to like Monkey Kid or something new. I don't know. So is that what you would have liked as a teen, and what you think would have maybe brought you in earlier on back to Lego? Something of that sort.
Uh, maybe. I it really depends on what my mindset was back then. Cause like I grew up in the early 2000s, early 2010s. Like there was a lot of prejudices back then that I held just because of that was the times and I've grown as a person who knew that people did that. But like like I won't get into any like serious things, but like oh no, it's a kids company. It's nothing but kid stuff. It's
You
like
can
all
get
that
into
sort
more
of stuff.
serious things if you want. This is for teens and young adults, so feel free.
I mean that's the I mean that's the kind of the extent of what I'm saying. It's just like when it comes to prejudices, I was very much like raised to believe like oh it's a kids company. Doing nothing but kid stuff. Stupid. Like, I'm supposed to be grown up now. I'm supposed to get in better things.
I see what you're
Like
saying.
that was just kind of like early me's 12-year-old me like kind of mindset I think like just having those prejudices of like toys and stuff in general and just like
Yeah.
that was the early just my early 2010s environment.
No, I definitely I see what you're saying there, and I think that is the case for why a lot of kids go into their dark age when they hit being around a teenager or even a bit under sometimes.
Yeah, I mean like puberty is weird. Puberty fluctuates.
Yeah, that's an understatement. But no,
Yeah.
I see what you're
Oh
saying
yeah.
there. Something to show that like, hey, it is still cool. I think, right? Like once again, doing something more daring, I guess. So they can be like, wait a second, I can still like this. This is still cool.
Yeah. I mean, when it comes to being daring, I have definitely tried to do that with later stuff in Heirs of the Masters. like a lot of stuff now, at least with the current thing, is like not necessarily daring, but kind of like, oh, that hurt, that was gut wrenching. Like that's kind of what we want to go for a little bit, but also we're kind of do more daring things of like later seasons tackle themes of abuse. I would say like
Okay.
like generational trauma, all that sort of stuff. That's a whole big thing with Colton, uh,
Really.
who we mentioned earlier. It's just like why he's so angry and why like and also it's ends with the message of like letting go of that, forgiving not because they deserve it, but forgiving so that you can move on is like kind of a big plot point, or at least a big revelation in my life that I want to be able to share in like story form. And that's not till way later down the line. Like that, me saying that could change completely. Uh, but that is something right now that I definitely want to go into. It's just like learning, understanding, and forgiving, and moving forward. It's like those are very important themes throughout my life that I think are important to really go into, especially for more troubled kids that are, you know, would be, I guess, Lego's target age, but haven't had the best life, I guess.
I think that's really lovely. I think that's a really cool. Not really cool. That's not even strong enough. I think that's just a really fantastic kind of message to be trying to get across in what you're doing, and I really respect that. I think that's fantastic.
It's it's definitely been like that. I know I'm supposed to be focusing on the first season, but every time I get to thinking about that story, it's like, oh, I must work on this. I must,
Oh, I completely
I must
understand
hyperfixate.
that.
I must
Right? Like
hyperfixate.
you can never focus on just like in a line. You have to like create everything all at once. Like I have my own story that Lego related story that I'm coming up with. That's all I'm saying for now, teaser. But yeah, I'm like, okay, so here's how it starts and then here's into like season 4 and I'm like, how did we get here? Like I haven't done any of the things in between and I'm already thinking this far, so I totally get what you're saying there.
Yeah. I mean, thinking about the in-betweens is like, I mean, you have what you need to know for a story is you need to know your start and your end, and everything in between eventually falls in place if you keep working at it.
True. I think you don't always even need to know exactly the end because I think that does sometimes just kind of form over time as the story goes. But definitely the start and the idea of where you want it to go roughly, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Definitely. I think that's a good way to go about it.
Like, for
All
me,
right.
there are two versions of the characters in my head, two primary versions of the characters. How they start out and how they finish.
Okay. Now that makes
What have
sense
they gone
because
through? What have they come to terms with? Yeah.
then you can fill in all the in betweens, like you said.
Yeah.
So my final question for you is: do you have any advice for TFOLs?
Be smart with money. But uh for serious though, uh my my advice to teenagers in general, this does not have to apply to teen fans of Lego, is just kind niceness and goodness are not the same thing. Niceness is based on transaction. What I did this thing for you. What are you gonna do for me? Uh, like it. Like I will not lie that I have had my quote unquote nice guy phase of just from living life, but being nice and being good are two different things. And where I am in my life, and ever since I've really gotten out of that phase, is just really trying to be good. Not just nice, not just kind, good. If you want a great example of like an exaggeration, I guess, of of personal growth in not only my life, but I think a lot of people can like uh, relate to in ways is the God of War Norse games. The Kratos, terrible man, civilization destroyer, and you cry when he hugs his son the first time. That's it's a whole beautiful story of personal growth, and that is themes that I want to tackle as well. It's just like personal growth, being better, being good, because it's the right thing to do. Like niceness. When I say niceness, I really kind of guess I do mean nice guy culture in a way. I mean, like I would say I was there for like I don't know a year of my life, but it's at the end of the day, you we can be better. Every human on Earth can be better. It just takes the first step, and the first step is often the scariest. And I believe me when I say I know that.
All right, that was fantastic. Oh my god, I love that. That's a really good a really good thing there. Be good. Just be a good person, and
Yeah.
like the
Hashtag
rather
be ninja, be better.
hashtag be ninja be better, exactly. Yeah, the I guess I'm trying to say is the difference between someone being a nice person and being a good person, and I think also noticing that in other people as well, and also being financially responsible. That was also a very very good one as well. Not
Yeah, I
quite as
mean,
deep,
you're
but very good.
yeah. I was a teenager once, and I had a job at one point. Let's just say I don't got that money anymore.
Be smart with money, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming on, Wonder. It was awesome having you. And before we end this episode, do you have any social medias or other things that you'd like to plug?
At Ninjago Gen on Twitter, Ninjago HOTM on Instagram, and I forget what it is for Tumblr, but we also have a Tumblr.
All right. Well, thank you all so much for watching. It means the world, and I hope you enjoyed. Links to the things and people we talked about will be in the description as always. New episodes now release once every 2 weeks on Tuesdays for TFOL Talk Tuesday, and you can find updates, announcements, and more regarding the podcast over on my Twitter or Instagram, both of which are at Doodlebricks. Anyways, that's all for now, and we'll see you all later.